Commission announces, oops, seemed I was muted yet again. Apologies for that. If you're just joining us, I'll say this. If you're just joining us, I was talking about Super Tuesday. I'm still getting my feet wet here at our desk, so I apologize for the mute button being on. That's something I have to remind myself about more often than once, apparently. So I was talking about Super Tuesday, biggest primary day of the year, 16 states and 1 U.S. territory holding presidential nominating contests today. So let's kind of start over briefly and just basically go over what we were discussing. So of course, this is a big deal to decide who is going to be on the ballot. Hopefully you get out there and you can exercise your right to vote in the Nebraska primaries, which are on May 14th. Meanwhile, here's something, this is an interesting story to look out for as far as the voting goes today. So, you know, Nikki Haley is still standing in there, still afloat, but will she end positively today? This is the best case scenario for Haley. We click over here, we can see Haley's delegates in the dark red and Trump delegates in the, Haley delegates in the lighter red and Trump delegates in the sort of darker maroon color there. So best case scenario for Haley, you can see all the Super Tuesday states kind of lined up there. 40 in Massachusetts. So these are, again, with the delegates. Best case scenario for Trump. Haley not looking good there, not clocking in very well. Alaska, this again outlines the states, 29 delegates there. Trump best case, 29, Haley 0. Haley best case, Trump 23, Haley 6. So moving forward, as I mentioned, we are very interested here in Nebraska in, of course, just following our local politics, our local elections. The Nebraska presidential primary is on May 14th, so something to keep in mind there. And there have been some changes. So if we click over to our website, that's wwt.com, you can see, I'll just refresh this grid here. The Douglas County Election Commission is announcing some polling place changes. So if you are voting, if you are registered to vote, this is something you might want to be heads up on. So again, Nebraska's May 14th presidential primary elections. The number of polling places in the county will decrease by 2 from the 2022 midterms to the 210 polling changes. And according to our website here, the boundaries for polling places can shift for a variety of reasons: growth, annexation, or a building being unavailable. So affected voters will receive a postcard next month notifying you of the change. So make sure to keep an eye out for those postcards. I know I checked my mail the other day, and recently I was alerted to my polling place being changed this year versus last year. So something to take note of there. Heading back to our website. This has the story, again, wwt.com. We have another story. It's interesting to know what Douglas County voters need to know to cast their ballots. So we've been reporting on this for a while now, but the state recently approved a voter ID. So this is what you'll have to prove you live in Nebraska before your vote is counted. And this is different this year. So you need to make sure you bring an ID with you when you do vote. So one form of voter ID that is accepted, a driver's license; another form, a state ID. You can vote by mail, write down the driver's license number or state ID number on the request, so that when you request a ballot, nothing's changed when you return that ballot. So something to keep in mind there. And then if you haven't registered to vote, you can still do so. It's votedouglascounty.com. You can see these key areas: register to vote here, vote early by mail, election results, and election worker. You can also volunteer to be an election worker, which I think is kind of fun, especially here in Nebraska, because you'll be inside and it won't be cold. I will say that much. But if you're just joining us, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Jacqueline Fernandez, and I'm your Alert Center anchor. And every day we're going to try to be live here, starting at noon and then taking a break around 12:20, and then back on air for another story around 1 o'clock. So earlier today, we spoke with the Better Business Bureau with Josh Planos. He discussed a little bit about the latest scams in a recent report that was released by the Bureau. And we'll have various other stories for you coming up later. Until then, thanks so much for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll leave you with this live look outside here. Not too bad. A closer look from our N-Dot camera. But again, thanks for joining me. Stay tuned for First at 3 with Dave Zavolinsky. That's coming up on our broadcast. Until then, have a good day.